April 2nd, 1 Samuel 21, 22, 23, and 24. 1 Samuel 21. And David came to Nob, to Amalek the priest. And Amalek trembled when he met David, and asked him, Why are you alone, and no one is with you? And David said to Amalek the priest, The sovereign has commanded me a word, and has said to me, Let no one know whatever of the word about which I send you, and which I have commanded you. And I have directed my young men to such and such a place. And now, what do you have on hand? Give 5 loaves into my hand, or whatever is found. And the priest answered David and said, There is no ordinary bread on hand, but there is set apart bread, provided the young men have kept themselves from women. And David answered the priest and said to him, Truly, women have been kept from us about 3 days since I came out, and the vessels of the young men are set apart, and it is an ordinary mission, and also it was set apart in the vessel today. Then the priest gave him set apart bread, for there was no bread there except the showbread, which had been taken from before Yah, in order to put hot bread in on the day it is taken away. Now one of the servants of Saul was there that day, detained before Yah, and his name was Doeg, an Edomite, the chief of the herdsmen who belonged to Saul. And David said to Amalek, Is there not here on hand a spear or a sword? For I brought neither my sword nor my weapons with me, because the matter of the sovereign was urgent. And the priest said, The sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom you struck in the valley of Elah, see, it is wrapped in a garment behind the shoulder garment. If you would take it, take it. For there is none other except this one here. And David said, There is none like it, give it to me. And David rose and fled that day from before Saul, and went to Achish, the sovereign of Gath. But the servants of Achish said to him, Is this not David, the sovereign of the land? Did they not sing of him to each other in dances, saying, Saul struck his thousands, and David his 10,000s? And David took these words to heart, and was very much afraid of Kish, the sovereign of Gath, and changed his behavior before them, and feigned madness in their hands, and scratched on the doors of the gate, and let his saliva run down on his beard. And Achish said to his servants, Look, you see the man is acting like a madman. Why do you bring him to me? Am I short of madmen that you have brought this one to act as a madman near me? Should this one come into my house? 1 Samuel 22. And David went from there, and escaped to the cave of Adullam. And his brothers and all his father's house heard it, and went down to him there. And everyone who was in distress, everyone who was in debt, and everyone bitter in being, gathered to him. So he became head over them, and there were about 400 men with him. And David went from there to Mitzvah of Moab, and said to the sovereign of Moab, Please let my father and mother come here with you, till I know what Elohim does for me. And he left them with the sovereign of Moab, and they dwelt with him all that time that David was in the stronghold. And the prophet Gad said to David, Do not remain in the stronghold. Leave, and go to the land of Yehudah. So David left, and went into the Kiriath woods. And Saul heard that David and the men who were with him had been discovered, while Saul was in Geba, sitting under a tamarisk tree in Ramah, with his spear in his hand, and all his servants standing about him. And Saul said to his servants who were standing around him, Hear now, you Benjamites. Does the son of Yeshaiah give every one of you fields and vineyards, and make you all commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds? For all of you have conspired against me, and there is no one who reveals to me that my son has made a covenant with the son of Yeshaiah. And there is not one of you who is grieved for me, or reveals to me that my son has stirred up my servant against me, to lie in wait, as it is this day. And Doeg the Edomite, who was set over the servants of Saul, answered and said, I saw the son of Yeshai going to Nob, to Amalek, son of Ahitub. And he inquired of Yah for him, gave him food, and gave him the sword of Goliath, the Philistine. And the sovereign sent someone to call Amalek the priest, son of Ahitub, and all his father's house, and the priests who were in Nob, and they all came to the sovereign. And Saul said, Hear now, son of Ahitub. And he answered, Here I am, my master. And Saul said to him, Why have you conspired against me, you and the son of Yeshai, by giving him bread and a sword, and have inquired of Elohim for him, to rise against me, till I lie in wait, as it is this day? And Amalek answered the sovereign and said, And who among all your servants is so trustworthy as David, who is his sovereign's son-in-law, and has turned aside to your counsel, and is esteemed in your house? Today I have begun to inquire for. Have I today begun to inquire of Elohim for him? Far be it from me. Let not the sovereign lay a case against his servant, or against any in the house of my father. So, for your servant knew not all of this, little or much. And the sovereign said, You shall certainly die, Amalek, you and all your father's house. And the sovereign said to the guards who stood about him, Turn and put the priests of Yah to death, because their hand is also with David, and because they knew when he fled, and did not reveal it to me. But the servants of the sovereign would not lift their hands to come against the priests of Yah. And the sovereign said to Doeg, Do you turn and come against the priests? So Doeg the Edomite turned and came against the priests, and put to death on that day 85 men who wore a linen shoulder garment. And he struck Nob, the city of the priests, with the edge of the sword, from men even to women, from children even to nursing infants, and oxen and donkeys and sheep, with the edge of the sword. And one of the sons of Amalek, son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David. And Abiathar reported to David that Saul had killed the priests of Yah. And David said to Abiathar, I knew that day, when Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would certainly inform Saul. I am accountable for all the lives of your father's house. Remain with me, do not fear, for he who seeks my life seeks your life, but with me you are safe. 1 Samuel 23. And they informed David, saying, See, the Philistines are fighting against Keilah, and they are plundering the threshing floors. So David inquired of Yah, saying, Shall I go and strike these Philistines? And Yah said to David, Go and smite the Philistines, and save Keilah. And David's men said to him, See, we here in Yehudah are afraid. How much more, then, if we go to Keilah against the armies of the Philistines? And David inquired of Yah once again. And Yah answered him and said, Arise, go to Keilah, for I am giving the Philistines into your hand. And David and his men went to Keilah and fought with the Philistines. And he led away their livestock and struck them a great smiting. Thus David saved the inhabitants of Keilah. And it came to be, when Abiathar, son of Amalek, fled to David at Keilah, that he went down with a shoulder garment in his hand. And Saul was informed that David had gone to Keilah. Then Saul said, Elohim has estranged him into my hand, for he has shut himself in by entering a town that has gates and bars. And Saul summoned all the people to battle, to go down to Keilah to besiege David and his men. And David knew that Saul was plotting evil against him, and said to Abiathar the priest, "Bring the shoulder garment here." And David said, "O Yah, Elohim of Israel, your servant has heard for certain that Saul seeks to come to Keilah to destroy the city for my sake. Are the landowners of Keilah going to surrender me into his hand? Is Saul coming down, as your servant has heard? O Yah, Elohim of Israel, I pray, let your servant know." And Yah said, "He is coming down." And David said, "Are the landowners of Keilah going to surrender me and my men into the hand of Saul?" And Yah said, "They are going to surrender you." Then David and his men, about 600, arose and left Keilah, and went wherever they could go. And Saul was informed that David had escaped from Keilah, and he had ceased to go out. And David remained in the wilderness and strongholds, and remained in the hill country in the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul sought him every day, but Elohim did not give him into his hand. And David saw that Saul had come out to seek his life, while David was in the wilderness of Ziph at Horesh. And Jonathan, Saul's son, arose and went to David at Horesh, and strengthened his hand in Elohim, and said to him, "Do not fear, for the hand of Saul my father is not going to find you, and you are to reign over Israel, and I am to be next to you. Even my father Saul knows that." And they made a covenant before Yah, and David remained at Horesh while Jonathan went to his own house. And the Ziphites came up to Saul at Geba, saying, "Is David not hiding with us in the strongholds of Horesh, in the hill of Hakilah, which is on the south of the wasteland? And now, O sovereign, by all the desire of your being, come down, and our part is to surrender him into the sovereign's hand." And Saul said, "Blessed are you of Yah, for you have sympathy with me. Please go, prepare yet further, and find out and see the place where his hideout is. Who has seen him there? For I am told that he is very cunning. So look and learn all about the hiding places where he hides, and you shall come back to me with certainty. Then I shall go with you. And it shall be, if he is in the land, that I search for him through all the clans of Yehudah." And they rose up and went to Ziph before Saul, while David and his men were in the wilderness of Maon, in the desert plain, on the south of the wasteland. And Saul and his men went to seek him, and they informed David. So he went down to the rock and remained in the wilderness of Maon. And when Saul heard this, he pursued David in the wilderness of Maon. And Saul went on one side of the mountain, and David and his men on the other side of the mountain. And David was hurrying to get away from Saul, for Saul and his men were surrounding David and his men to take them. Then a messenger came to Saul, saying, "Hurry and come, for the Philistines have invaded the land." So Saul turned back from pursuing David, and went against the Philistines. Therefore they called that place Selah Hamalekoth. And David went up from there, and remained in the strongholds of En-Gedi. 1 Samuel 24. And it came to be, when Saul had returned from pursuing the Philistines, that it was reported to him, saying, "See, David is in the wilderness of En-Gedi." So Saul took 3,000 chosen men from all Israel, and went to seek David and his men on the rocks of the wild goats. And he came to the sheepfolds on the way, and there was a cave. And Saul went in to relieve himself. Now David and his men were sitting in the sides of the cave. And the men of David said to him, "See, the day of which Yah said to you, 'See, I am giving your enemy into your hand. You shall do to him as it seems good to you.'" And David arose and gently cut off a corner of Saul's robe. And it came to be afterward that the heart of David struck him, because he had cut the robe of Saul. So he said to his men, "Far be it from me, by Yah, that I should do this matter to my master, anointed of Yah, to stretch out my hand against him, for he is the anointed of Yah. And David dispersed his servants with words, and did not allow them to rise against Saul. And Saul rose up from the cave and went on his way. And afterward David arose and went out of the cave, and called out to Saul, saying, My master the sovereign. And when Saul looked behind him, David bowed with his face to the earth, and did obeisance. And David said to Saul, Why do you listen to the words of men, who say, See, David seeks to do you evil? See, this day your eyes have seen that Yah gave you today into my hand in the cave. And one said to kill you, but my eye pardoned you, and I said, I do not stretch out my hand against my master, for he is the anointed of Yah. And my father, see, yes, see, the corner of your robe is in my hand. For in that I cut off the corner of your robe, and did not kill you. Know and see that there is neither evil nor rebellion in my hand, and I have not sinned against you, while you are hunting my life to take it. Let Yah judge between you and me, and let Yah revenge me on you, but my hand is not against you. As the proverb of the ancients say, wrong comes from the wrongdoer, but my hand is not against you. After whom has the sovereign of Israel come out? Whom do you pursue? A dead dog? A flea? And Yah shall be judge, and rightly rule between you and me, and see, and plead my case, and rightly rule me out of your hand. And it came to be, when David had ended speaking these words to Saul, that Saul said, Is this your voice, my son David? And Saul lifted up his voice and wept. And he said to David, You are more righteous than I, for you have rewarded me with good, whereas I have rewarded you with evil. And you have shown today how you have done good to me. For when Yah surrendered me into your hand, you did not kill me. For if a man finds his enemy, shall he let him get away safely? And let Yah reward you with good for what you have done to me today. And now look, I know that you shall certainly reign, and that the reign of Israel shall be established in your hand. And now swear to me by Yah, that you do not cut off my seed after me, nor destroy the name of my father's house. And David swore to Saul. Then Saul went home, and David and his men went up to the stronghold.